How's everybody doing? Yay! Here we are. Thanks, Richard, and thanks, Joyce, and Poetry Flash, and thanks, Pegasus, for having my books here, and thank you all so much for being here, and thanks to the other poets for sharing the stage. It's really a privilege. I love this festival, and I feel so lucky. And thanks to the universe for this great Southeast Alaska weather. So I will be reading from a recent book that came out in Wales in the UK called Matanuska, which is the name of a river that runs through south central Alaska, where I was raised in Anchorage. And so it's a Russian word, but these poems are sort of collage poems that take a bit of language from a plant guide and repeat it 3 times. Every poem is 17 lines, and the titles include the common name of a plant, a wild plant, a worldwide COVID-19 death count, and the exact date and time of that death count. So on June 21st, 2020 at 0834 Pacific Daylight Time, the worldwide COVID-19 death count was 467,668. Sitka alder. Approach them with a childlike spirit, though, or the tangles of trunks can infuriate you. The far field or the inward witness can confuse. Where the humpbacked heron, the lesser grebe, the giant asters reach out of the wet bank to partake of its poor soil and full sun, its underbeing, brain mist or milk or phantom limb. Our honeymoon, my ring of bone and faraway inlet, you wrapped in silt and solid shadow. Bring coffee to wake me, worn. Approach them with a childlike spirit, though, or the gravel road transfigured, or a green cloud, a lure, a source text, documentary, bud, spring fever, flaking porch. And of 3 polite warnings, this is the first. Is your flame in my hair? Take it down now, disassemble. Bark scrapings, altar candles, birch syrup, sealing wax, spoken vows, phloem. Approach them with a childlike spirit, though. Okay, May 31st, 2020, thank you. May 31st, 2020, 0607 Pacific Daylight Time, 371,568. This is Hog's Delight. Improves digestion and general well-being of hens, geese, sheep, swine, morning glory, barn cat, boy in the ravine, switchblade, trachea, scout badge. And here my brother, with one hand in the river, the other at a rope or a wire, him, his, himself obedient, the body a kind of translation or book. And it was late in the day, the tiny birds I'd found along the trail having been fed, their eyes not yet open, a long-time companion gaping at the least sound, at the leafy green that improves the digestion and general well-being of the mirror, the mantelpiece, the memory of winter, candelabra, hibernation, the shaving kit, the horsehair, brush, and hark, a grackle, a wren, a flock of starlings to scatter and gather up. American redbreast, once more with feeling, improves the digestion and general well-being. I love little bits of language that you can pull from, especially this book that I took these moments from is called Discovering Wild Plants, Alaska, Canada, and the Pacific Northwest, and it has all these recipes and local lore and knowledge about the plants, so no shortage of wonderful things to work with. May 15, 2020, 0735 Pacific Daylight Time, 304,348. Puzzle grass. To the appearance of the green, bristly-branched horsetail common in fields, a forest in miniature, as in your other life, armored in nightmare, Where not lullaby but discord, not our bed but a rough sea repeats itself. Snow goose, patty cake mirror, as fast as you and so lost in grief. In a thin slip, a corsage pin, bake me an ink spot, Abbotswood rainstorm broomstick. And the leaves still falling over the street, over your face, your eye spots. Oh, little wing, I've come 1,000 miles. A legend to the appearance of the green bristly branched specimen, to the antique invention, and on that street corner from that copse you called out to me, you held it all, you sang. Not you, nor him, nor him, nor him. Take anything you want, dissolve it on the tongue. Fat chance, my circus mind alive to the appearance of the green, bristly branched. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. This is May 14th, 2020, 0827 Pacific Daylight Time, 299,590, Sitka spruce. Move over here. Invested with a potent spirit like that of the most powerful animals or cathedrals, as in, you enter, you lay your burden down, you take your choice. Soft grass of forgiveness, in this, the dominion or big bang or multiverse, where twigs are smooth, have dense orange fuzz, where oil is wonderful in bath and massage. Clean clothes and juice of the high bush cranberry, here for art's sake you intoxicate yourself, you of perfect posture, cones thin and papery with fluted edges, essential winter cover and habitat, space, invested with a potent spirit like that of the robin redbreast, talisman or wren, seen flitting in the leaves in service of the deity or plunderer, the dutiful molecule, the one who taps and taps at the very edge of your vision, invested with a potent spirit like that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, just a couple more. And I thank you for your attention. Okay, this is, I'm working backwards, so the death count of the worldwide from the COVID is getting smaller and smaller. May 3rd, 2020, 0844 Pacific Daylight Time, 55,203. Quakers' bonnets. Seeds were once used as money, or as trade beads or cause and effect. A small bone whistle in the mouth, a golden egg, a snow goose, a field of violet stalks rising to meet me, to soothe or to mend, good eating, what I wouldn't say or give, to what I wouldn't lay at the feet, and a fact, and a fable, and a way seeds were once used as money, burning in the throat. If I offered it all, if I performed the elaborate rite, if that green myth, if the coin resting on the eye, if the 20 snowy mountains, hillocks, creeks, honey, ivory spindles, luxuriant sweet, seeds were once used as money. Thank you so much. And this is the last one I'm going to read today, so thanks for having me, and thanks to Pegasus Books. And how lucky are we to be together, and what a great poetry city and place on the planet. So just super grateful. And on January 22nd, 2020 at 0900 Pacific Savings Time, worldwide COVID-19 death count was 17. Whortleberry. The fresh cleaned fish, rabbit, or duck, and under my feet green ice, the ice holding its own array of paper birch seeds, and they are like stars in their shapes and in their assorted romantic arrangements, and they are lady birch, gray birch, kenai birch, under the soles of my feet, of my boot print, the fresh cleaned fish, rabbit, or duck, whose habitat varies from the bogs and tundra to the lowlands and subalpine meadows, whose jawbones gleamed in the rushes, the palms of my hands, the extremities, where the pelt and the sinew, the wood stove and snowshoe, and they are like pools shining or holding the white sky before us. And they are like my skin, the very cells, the marrow and helix, the fresh, cleaned fish, rabbit, or duck. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just going to read a couple poems, and I'm going to start with one by C.D. Wright called Lake Echo, Dear. Is the woman in the pool of light really reading, or just staring at what is written? Is the man walking in the soft rain, naked, or is it the rain that makes his shirt transparent? The boy in the iron cot, is he asleep or still fingering the springs underneath? Did you honestly believe 3 lives could be complete? The bottle of green liquid on the sill, is it real? The bottle on the peeling sill, is it filled with green? Or is the liquid an illusion of fullness? How summer's children turn into fish, and rain softens men. How the elements of summer night bid us to get down with each other on the unplaned floor. And this feels painfully beautiful, whether or not it will change the world. One drop.
You mentioned it.
C.D. Wright. So I'm going to read a poem that I wouldn't have written but for Maya Khosla, who took me into the forest to teach me about what happens in post-burn forests in California. Post-fire forest. Shadows of shadows without canopy. Phalanxes of carbonized trunks and snags, their inner momentum shorted out. They surround us in early morning like plutonic pillars, like mute clairvoyance leading a sursum corda, like the excrescence of some long slaughter. All that moves is mist lifting, too indistinct to be called ghostly, from scorched filamental layers of rain-moistened earth. What remains of the forest takes place in the exclamatory mode, cindered utterances in a tongue from which everything trivial has been volatilized, everything trivial to fire. In a notch between near hills, stubbled with black paroxysm, we spot a familiar sun, liquid glass globed at the blowpipe's tip. If this landscape is dreaming, it must dream itself awake. You have, everyone notes, a rare talent for happiness. I wonder how to value that, walking through wreckage. On the second day, a black-backed woodpecker answers your call, but we search until twilight without finding it. Thank you, Maya, for that experience. And I read two more poems, a water poem, based on these poems are based on an ancient tradition in India called Sangam poetry, which took place about 2,000 years ago, this flourishing of literature in India, in which people were writing poems in which they felt it was not only unethical, but impossible to write about feeling, subjectivity. Am I too close to the mic?
No, you're fine.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. I'm getting signals. I can't read. All right. Where it's considered not only unethical, but impossible to write about subjectivity, your own feelings, without referencing the landscape. What's the world around you, which impacts our feelings and impacts our subjectivity and is part of us, of course. C. Night surfing in Bolinas. Maybe enough light to score a wave, reflecting moonlight, sand reflecting moonlight, and you spotting from shore what you see only as silhouette against detonating bands of blue-white effervescence, when the crown of the falling swell explodes upward as the underwave blows through it, a flash of visibility quickly snuffed by night, the surf fizzling and churning, remitting itself to darkness with a violent stertor in competition with no other sounds. Paddling through dicey backwash, the break zone of waist-high northwest swell, as into a wall of obsidian, indistinguishable from night sky, diving under, paddling fast, and before I sit, one arm over my board, I duck and listen a moment underwater to the alien soundscape, not daytime's clicks and whines of ship engines and sonar, but a low-spectrum hum, the acoustic signature of fish, squid, crustaceans rising en masse to feed at the surface. I feel an eerie peacefulness veined with fear. After 20 minutes, the eyes adjust. Behind the hand dragging through water, bioluminescent trails. Not enough light to spot boils or flaws in nearing waves appear even larger, closing in fast. Then 5 short strokes into a dimensionless peeler, 2 S-shaped turns, the kick out, and from shore your shout. It is cowardice that turns my eyes from the now empty beach. For with you I became aware of an exceptional chance. I don't believe in objective description. Only this mess, experience, the perceived world, sometimes shared, in which life doesn't endure, only the void endures. But your vitality stirred it, leaving trails of excitation. I've risen from the bottom of myself to find I exist in you, exist in me. And against odds I've known even rapture, rare event, which calls for but one witness. And then I'll finish with a poem which is also part of the Sangam series. It's both about the burning of Santa Rosa and it's also about myself. Wasteland for Santa Rosa. Green spring grass on the hills had cured by June, and by July, gone woolly and brown, it crackled underfoot, desiccated, while within the clamor of live oaks, an infestation of tiny larvae clung to the underleaves, feeding between veins. Their frass, that fine dandruff of excrement and boring dust, tinkled as it dropped onto dead leaves. Below the limbs, you could hear it 20 feet away, tinkling. Across the valley, on Sugarloaf Ridge, the full moon showed up, like a girl doing cartwheels. No one goes on living the life that isn't there. Below a vast column of smoke, heat, flame, and wind, I rose, swaying and tottering on my erratic vortex, extemporizing my own extreme weather, sucking up acres of scorched topsoil and spinning it outward in a burning sleet of filth and embers that catapulted me forward with my mouth open in every direction at once. So I came for you, turning the present into purgatory, because I need to turn everything to tragedy before I can see it, because it must be leavened with remorse for the feeling to rise. Thank you. And thank you, Joyce, for organizing this once again.